All right, is that better? I think my microphone wasn't working. There. Can you hear me now? Yeah. The after when I switched the scenes, it didn't unmute, so I had to unplug and plug in. All right, is the microphone loud enough? Because I just have my earbud in, so I didn't have to have my headset on. All right, we'll go with that. So I may have to plug another light in. 1 second, because I know it's kind of dark. Actually, we'll just turn the brightness up on that. All right, feel free to hang out. You could learn how to make a shawl. So I wanted to figure something quick out that I think I will still plug that light in. See if that helps any. Something quick could be made. All right, there we go. Alrighty. Now if I go back to here. Oh, okay, that's good enough. So it's still not very bright. It's like the light went out. Okay. So this is a child's V-stitch poncho, which it says to use worsted weight yarn, but one of the things I wanted to mention is not all worsted weight yarn or 4-weight yarn is the same. Some are thinner than others. And so you got to be careful of that, because if you get a thinner yarn, it may not work up to be quite as big of a project. So let me just and we'll bump this up. Then that affects that. That'll have to do. That'll have to do. All right, getting the kinks out. So it calls for a size J or 10 or 6.0 millimeter hook. Take my watch off. So that's what I have here for today. And I just have some worsted weight yarn that I had left over in my stash. So eventually what I'll do is I'll post a full-blown tutorial on this, because that way I can get the lighting better and edit it better and stuff. But I just figured on possibly on Mondays, what we'll do is, and now you get to put a face to the name, we'll do maybe Maker Mondays, where I might go live with something completely random. We might go and work on something that we've got a work in progress. Because if you're like me, I have about 10 things behind me that I've been working on. So it could be something that it's just people have questions about projects they're working on. We could just sit and chat while we're working on some things. We'll see. But for today, I'm going to start working up a sample for a tutorial, which we'll do down the road. Okay, so this is the child's V-stitch poncho. So I'm not going to go into too many details about it, because I will do a tutorial for it. But one thing you'll notice on my instructions, after I typed them up there the other day, I have highlighted, because there's 3 different sizes. So I've highlighted the size I'm going to work on, because this is actually going to be a gift for a friend of ours. Had a little girl not long ago. So I'm going to do that and tuck it in with their gift. Anyway, so I'm going to be making a size 6 to 8, because I want to make it for when she gets a little bigger. So with my yarn of choice, I'm going to chain 73. So I should have done the chain before I started, because now you're going to hear me counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I'm going to throw that down there. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. All right, so I have 73. So there's two ways to do this. You can either, if you're comfortable enough, is slip stitch to the beginning and hope you don't get tangled up, or what's just as easier and is very beginner friendly is I'm going to work the first row as if it's just going to be straight, but we are going to join it in the round. So to make it beginner friendly, we will work. So I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And in each one across. So I will do that. So I was also thinking, for if I keep doing the Maker Mondays where I go live on a Monday, I don't have a set time for it just yet, because life. So it could be a case of, like today being Monday, I went live after supper, my time. It could be next Monday, it could be the afternoon because there's other things going on. Or it could be a Monday morning. So they will always be available to watch after the fact, if you are so inclined, which is much appreciated. And what I will say is thanks to everybody who's shown the channel some support in the last little while. I really do appreciate it. Now I think I know why I left this yarn on the shelf. It tends to split. And I'm like you with my starting chain. I tend to go a little slower because there's not much to hold on to at first. But anyway, if I do the Maker Mondays, it'll just mean that the Mondays are when I'll go live and we can sit and chat and work on our works in progress. Or I was debating to potentially have a mystery kind of crochet along. You'll know what kind of like yarn to have and the hook to have and what not. But you may not know what you're making until we're done or until you get far enough along. I don't know. Some people may not like that either because they'd like to know ahead of time what it is they're making. Because I had a blanket in mind that I made years and years ago that I was thinking I would maybe do because there's like Tunisian crochet in it, there's regular crochet in it, there's cross stitching in it, believe it or not. So I was debating something like that where I would just we would work on it together on the Maker Mondays. And you wouldn't necessarily get the whole pattern all at once because you could then turn around and finish it all at once, kind of thing. It'd just be something kind of fun to do. Oh my land, this. Not all yarn is created equal, people. And I can see that this is one of those ones. Hopefully once we get past the starting chain here, it'll be a little less frustrating. But I have lots. I want to do some holiday projects, whether it be Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmassy. I want to do stuff like that. And I was also thinking for Maker Mondays, a potential project could be where this week we do this granny square, and next week we do this stitch in this granny square. And then at the end of it all, after so many weeks, we'll stitch all those squares together and put a border on it, and you'll have yourself a nice sampler afghan or sampler blanket. So I was thinking that might be a fun idea, especially if there was like a holiday theme. That might be something. So what's interesting is if anyone's actually turns around and watches this after the fact, I have never in all the videos been on camera. So now you've got a face to put with the name Slangel, which there's some of you who do know me that might watch, know that that's just a combination of my first and last name. So everyone from the online community that we are part of just tends to call me Slang. Which is fine. It's something you get used to, and then it kind of becomes second nature. And then when somebody actually, it's weird, like sometimes people that you meet online when they're used to your like username, if someone uses your actual name, you're kind of like, what now? This is a very fine 4-weight yarn. So I'm kind of glad I'm making the bigger size. So not only that, if there's projects that people want to see, or tutorials or videos or any questions or whatever, leave comments on the videos. Even if the question has nothing to do with the video, if it's something I can help out with, I am glad to do that. Because the whole point is for everyone to learn something, and to learn some new things. If you've been at this for a while, maybe there could be tips and tricks that somebody knows that I don't know or you don't know, and share the knowledge, I guess, is a better way to put it. All right. Oh, cat hair. Cat hair is always free. Oh, that might be one of mine, actually. All right. Let's see. All right, I'm coming up to the end of the starting chain. All right. But yeah, I've got a lot of ideas for future videos and stuff too, and I have some projects that I've gotten partially recorded that I have to finish that will be going up here soon. Let's see, I should have 72 single crochets. Let me just double check real quick, because you always want to catch any mistakes before you get too far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, it works out. It's legit. All right, so now, and again, like I said, I'm not going into too much detail because I will make a tutorial for this. You want to make sure that you're not twisted because we're going to join this with a slip stitch. And you'll notice there's like a space. Oops, there's a space. Don't worry, that'll get closed up at the end when we do the neck. All right, so blah, 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 chain 3. 1, 2. Oh, preferably not with your tail. Which means I did that with the tail too. All right. Straighten out my starting in, not the tail. See, when I do videos, you guys don't see this part because I edit this out. All right, chain 3. That counts as your first half double crochet, and chain 1, then half double crochet in the same space. Skip next 2, and then V-stitch. The V-stitch is half. Okay, so skip 2, 1, 2, 1. Chain 1, 1. All right. So then what am I going to do? Skip next 2, 1, 2, half, single, half, and I'm just looking at my notes. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way around. Skip 2. I'm also making sure, part of the reason I do this typically off camera before I do the tutorial, when I make up the sample, is because I may have written something and then as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I should change that. It makes more sense to, you know, skip 2 as opposed to skip 1 because it's going to look better. Because sometimes when you are trying to come up with what you think is going to look good, you may need to modify it just a little bit. Hello, grown folks. How are you? What's going on? The camera needs to be moved some. I'm trying to work out the kinks. It's been so long. You must be excited for Madden coming out this week. I know Brian's been eyeing up. Brian was initially looking at the college football. And then, yeah, happy Madden 25 day. And then I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't there already a Madden 25? And how many people are going to ask for Madden 25 for Christmas? Like, how many kids? And then their parents are going to be like, oh, here's Madden 25. And it's like the old one. I have to bring this back some. Let's see. Now adjust. Why are you so blurry? Because you're shaking. I'm so used to having my hands in a certain spot when I'm crocheting that it feels weird if I don't have them in the right spot. Oops. Skip 2 and 2. So this is the V stitch, which is a half double crochet, chain 1 half double crochet in the same place, same stitch. That's what I'm doing all the way around here. Whoops. Let's see. Did I get this twisted? So that's supposed to be... Nope, I didn't. Okay. I was panicking thinking I may have had my starting thing twisted together. So I had to get OBS all set up with the camera and everything, and the webcam for overhead. I used to stream on Twitch back in the day, but getting set up for... Stop twisting on me. Getting set up for YouTube was a little different. So I had to figure that out. And as it stands, there's some stuff that still isn't working the way I want it to, and I don't know why. Like when I have my starting soon and stuff up, there's sound to that little clip, but that sound's not coming through on the stream, so I don't know what's going on. No clue. Not a big deal, but... All right, let's see here. All right. Why do I think I have this twisted? 1 second here. Okay, get that out of there, because that's got to go like that. All right, it's because of where I had joined. All right, skip 2. Let's see, round around, join the slip stitch to the top of the second chain at the beginning, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, and then that's gonna not look right. Let's see. Let's fix this. chain 1, half double crochet. Okay, like that, because stop twisting. Okay, it is flat. I can confirm. It is not twisted. I will join to the top. Let me get my yarn where it needs to be. And slip. There we go. So now for round 3, working to the right. Slip stitch between the last V-stitch made and the joining V-stitch. Okay. So I'm slipping backwards. Which is weird to do. So I should double check too that I have the right amount of V-stitches. I should have 24. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I do have 24. Okay. So, chain 2 counts as your 1, 2. Then half double crochet, chain 1. Okay. I don't like the way that's sitting. This is just me being picky at this point. But I want it to look good, right? I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Half double crochet. Chain 1, 2 half double crochets. Okay, V-stitch the next 11 spaces between the V-stitches. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ow. 9, 10, 11. And then in the next space, we're going to do 2 half double crochets chain 1 and 2 half double crochets. So that the 2 chain 1 and 2 half double crochets at the front and the back make the V. Let's see. So then we should have V-stitch, repeat. Okay, so we're going to do V-stitch. I see some notes I need to redo, I think, to make it a little more clear. Because it's one of those cases where I know what I'm writing down and I know what I meant, but I have to look at it from the perspective of somebody who may not know what it is I'm trying to do. So I have to try to simplify it to make it very clear as to what the intention of the placement of things and all that stuff. Why am I tangled? I also don't know if I picked the most appropriate yarn for this. But we'll see how it works out. This is why I like to do the sample ahead of time too, before I make the tutorials, just in case modifications need to be made. Because in my mind, when I'm trying to figure something out, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I think this is going to work out well. And then I go and I do it and I'm like, it's a disaster. So, or I go to do it and I'm like, okay, that works. But would it be better if I used this yarn instead of, say maybe I needed to use a 5 instead of a 4 weight yarn, something like that. Just some quick little things. All right, let's see here. And then join the slip stitch to the top of the beginning chain. All right, so I did that. So round 4, slip stitch in the next half double crochet and chain 1 space. So we're going to slip stitch there and then there, which brings us to then chain 2 half double crochet, because we're in the shell stitch section, and then 2 half double crochets right back in there, which makes, these are what makes the point of the poncho. So then I'm going to V-stitch in between each V-stitch and a corner shell around a corner shell. All right, so then let's put our V-stitches in. So you're not going into the chain 1 space, you're going in between each set of V-stitches. I think that's what I need to make more clear as to the placements. Of where you're putting things. And I need to learn, not that I don't totally understand how to do it, but I want to learn how to do diagrams better, because I think this would be, a diagram would be so beneficial on this pattern. It would just, I think, make visually, it would help make things make a lot more sense. All right, you can kind of see how, it's hard to see because I'm using white on white. You can see how this is going to start turning into the peak of the poncho. All right, let's see here. I may change colors here after this round too, just so it's easier to see. And this yarn is driving me crazy. So this is round 4. And this is the round that we're going to be repeating until the poncho is the length that you desire. All right. Let's see. So I have to do in here. And then I'm going to put in the 2 half double crochets. 1, 2, chain 1, and then 2 more. This is how the poncho will grow as you go around. And then we're going to V-stitch again in between the V-stitches from before. There's more of my hair. So did everybody watch the Olympics when they were on? There were some pretty good things. I do feel bad for those who had to swim in the Seine, though. That would be, whoa. Because you know very well that water was disgusting. All right, let's see. Does it keep track? I have no clue. Oh, it does over there, but it doesn't. Okay. I'm just looking at all the information that comes up on the screens. Because like I said, I was used to streaming on Twitch, and this has a different layout. But I thought I'd give this a go because I kept saying I was going to do it, and then one thing or another would come up. And it got put off and put off. And I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And if one person shows up, one person shows up. If nobody shows up, no one shows up. We'll give it a try. You're not going to know unless you try it. And again, it may not be every Monday, but I'm hoping to set, I'd like to actually get to like a set schedule, like where I say, oh, Mondays at like 7 o'clock Atlantic. That's when it'll be, just so that it's predictable. And if people wanted to pop in, perfect. You know where I'll be and what time. But I don't know if I'm there yet. And it's just, it's a relaxed. All right. So then, all right, I have notes here for myself. Let me see. So I should have 12 V-stitches made in between each corner stitch. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, what do you know? My notes worked. So I think what I'm going to do is change color. Add a little pizzazz here. So what I'm going to do is undo my slip stitch because I want a seamless join, right? So by finishing off that slip stitch, that brings, sorry, scissors. I'm going to cut that and tie this just so I don't lose it. Put that there. So Repeat round 4 for the pattern. Okay. I have notes written everywhere for this to make sense for me. This will increase each round by 2 V-stitches each time, making the growth of the poncho. Okay. Which is what I want, right? All right, so we're going to chain 2. No, first we have to slip stitch over. Shoot, I should have slip stitched. Because we're going to slip stitch in here, because you want to get to that middle of that, the chain 1. Now we're going to chain 2, half double crochet, chain 1 and 2 half double crochets, all in that peak or the corner kind of the poncho. I like to usually weave my ends in as I go, but not tonight. All right, so now we're going to do our V-stitches. This yarn, I don't know if you can tell, but this yarn's got some sparkles in it. It's got a bit of bling built in. All right, so in between each V-stitch, putting another V-stitch. Not in the chain 1 spaces, in between the V-stitches. It's getting harder and harder to find yarn that is wash and dry, that you can just throw in the wash and throw in the dryer. And when I'm making like a baby project, like a baby blanket or anything that might be used by a child, that's a must, because if you can't just throw somebody's blanket, if they baby, if, like they spit up and stuff, you can't just throw that in the washer and dryer. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give somebody a gift that you spend countless hours on, in a lot of cases, and then the baby throws up once and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, you have to hand wash that and lay it flat to dry. No, that's not acceptable for a baby blanket, in my opinion. And a lot of the yarns now, that's what it's turning into, which is kind of frustrating. It's all well and good for a scarf or a hat or something small where you can just like set it down somewhere and let it dry, but not for kids stuff. If you're given a gift, you don't want the person to be like, oh, what are you doing? All right, we're coming up to around to the next corner part. And by corner, I mean like the front. It's either the front or the back of the poncho. And we will be going back, and you put a neck on the poncho, you trim it off. So, all right, let's see here. I'm going to throw that on the ground, on the floor, sorry, just so it's not rolling around all over the place. All right, so you can tell because there's the 2 half double crochets, a chain 1 and a 2 half double crochet. I'm going to be putting in that chain 1 space 2 half double crochets, chain 1 and 2 half double crochets, and that's another shell, front shell or back shell. And then we're going to go right back in and do our V-stitches again around this side. And it's doing these here. This is what's growing the poncho out. As you, it's hard to, the camera keeps wanting to focus. So this is what's going to start growing the poncho out. and it's much easier to see with the pink. So I'm kind of looking forward to potential projects for Maker Monday. Just casual things that can work on together and whatnot. And a perfect time to do any kind of like Q&A too. Like if you guys are working on something that you're like, shoot, what do I do with this? Or I watched your tutorial on that, but I wasn't quite sure about this part. Is there any tips or tricks to what I'm trying to do here? Like, I think that would be great. All right. Because it's nice to interact with the viewers as well. And it is a little easier to do that when you're live. All right. Oops. I want to double check my count because I have a feeling I may. Let me just double check. Never hurts to check your counts after every round for the first little bit when you're, especially when I'm trying to figure out if I need to modify anything here. I think it just looks weird because of where I slip stitched those first ones. Okay, let's see. We should have the same number of V-stitches in between left and right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13. So yeah, it's just, it looked weird because it looked too filled in. I keep hitting that camera. It looked weird because of where you slip stitch over, and it was like the pink on the white at first. So slip stitching, chaining 2, half double crochet, chain 1, 2 half double crochet. All right. So then we're going to go with our V stitches. Be nice to hear too, like if people popped in, what projects you guys are working on, what you're doing anything for like the holidays, or I may have an unboxing video because I won some yarn from Yarn Inspirations in a contest, and when it arrives, I don't know what all I'm getting because I just know I'm getting a package of yarns, and it's going to be a surprise to me just as much as it is a surprise to everybody else, which is kind of fun. So I may do that. And something I'm wondering about too, yarn swatches. Do you ever go to, like, say Michael's or your local craft store? Here we only really have Michael's or Walmart. Walmart's got like nothing on the shelves. And you see like different colorways, and you see different yarns and stuff, and you're like, I wonder what that looks like when it's like done up. So I don't know if swatches are a thing people would be interested in, just to kind of test what a sample might look like in different stitch patterns. So I don't know. I was thinking about that. I'm trying to think of things that people might find useful and informative on the channel, kind of thing. Something that might be helpful. I know I want to do something that might be useful is to do a tutorial about gauge swatches. or there was something else, gauge swatches. There was something else I had in mind too, and I can't think of it. Oh, lady brain, I guess. All right, we're at the peak again, so we have to do 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets. This yarn is pretty, and the thing is, I know you can't get it anymore. That's the part that sucks. A cat keeps trying to get in. I think I have my door shut because when I have yarn out, the cats are pretty good though. They tend to leave things alone in here. So this past week I had done a tutorial for the bean stitch, and I had really liked it. The way I think I have it right here anyway. When I had done up the sample, I had really liked it. And to the point where I went to Michael's and I bought a whole bunch of yarn to make a queen size bed. Queen size blanket. So I've got that going beside me as well here. And I have a sweater that I'm knitting. I have a shawl that I'm knitting. I have this that I'm working on now. I have a tutorial in the works that I got partly recorded. The rest of it I'm hoping to get done this week before the end of the week, because I am going to be away potentially. So I have to get the border done and recorded for that, and it's super cute. So that's coming up, and I have some holiday items planned. I've got all these ideas that I want to do, and it's to find the time and get things recorded and get things done. But not only that, sometimes writing out the pattern and getting things tweaked and just kind of like sorted out, and like any mistakes and corrections and stuff that you want to make or modifications, sometimes that takes longer than actually getting the samples and that done and the tutorial done and the video recording done. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that not everybody might realize. Some people probably do, some people don't, which is fine. But there is a lot of work that goes into some things. Because I'd also like to design a bigger stitch along project. And I know that's going to take a fair bit of planning. I'm going to need to probably do multiple samples and multiple trials of it all, because I'd want to get it just right, kind of thing. Because there's no point in me doing something where I'm like, oh yeah, well shoot, on week 1 you should have done this, maybe we should have done this, it would have turned out better, or it would have looked better. So there's going to be a fair bit of stuff involved, but I enjoy that. So I have an earache. I do enjoy that. All right, so again, I'm just repeating round 4. These ends are bugging me though. But you can kind of see how it's starting to shape, and the neck will tidy all that up. So that'll be nice. So, all right. So chain 2. 1, 2, Back in with a half double crochet, chain 1, 2 half double crochets. And then back into the V-stitches. I'm going to have to switch back to the cream color here shortly. So if you're going back and you're watching this, or if you've made it to this point in the video, the VOD or whatever you want to call them, if there's something you'd like to see for Maker Monday, I don't want to get too complicated with them. I'd like them to be something like a quicker project or something. But like I still think the idea of potentially having, I don't need that in my ear, potentially having granny squares that we, at the end of however long, whether it's like 12 weeks or whatever, so 12 squares, at the end of it we then turn around and put them together to make a blanket, and you end up with like a sampler. Kind of, we'll focus on different stitches and motifs and stuff like that. I think that would be fun. And I'm still debating the Tunisian project. I have so many things I want to do, which is probably why I have about 10 to 12 works in progress on the go. But I mean, I can't be the only one that's like, they're working on a project and then all of a sudden they're like, ooh, look at that, another pattern. Oh, I really want to start that pattern. Well, I'll start it and then I'll go back to the other one. And then you set something aside and then all of a sudden you're back to, you're flipping and flopping between projects and stuff. I just finished making a tree skirt. I was taking part in a crochet along with another group, and I got that done. Because, you know, it's never too early for Christmas stuff. But that one was for myself. Because if you're like me too, most things you make aren't for your own home or for yourself. They're gifts, they're for charities, they're whatever. They don't stay with you. So it's very rare that I actually make something that's going to stay in the house. So I did that. Which was nice for a change. And I'm working on the bean stitch queen size blanket for my bed. So, and my son wants a new blanket for his bed too. So that's gonna be another queen size one. The only thing is he wants black. For those of you who work with yarn, you feel my pain when it comes to that, because working with black yarn is miserable. You can't see what you're doing. It's hard to see the stitches. It can be done, but black is just the bane of a crochet or a knitter's existence. So now I need to decide if I'm going to change at the end of every 2 rows, every 3, just random for the colors. Because I only have so much. This was the only thing of this color I had. So I want to kind of pace it out to make sure I can get the whole project done. Excuse me. We're coming around to the end of the row, end of the round, sorry. All right, let's see. Get my fingers to work here. And slip stitch to the top of the chain 2. And then we'll slip stitch over and over to the middle. I think I'll do one more row in the pink before I switch back. But again, you can kind of see now, like if you flip it around. Get the yarn out of the way here. So it's kind of hard to see. Let me just boop. You can kind of see like this would be the neck. So then the poncho's growing out and forming the points on the front and the back. Okay. I'm using a different camera for my overhead webcam than I do when I'm recording the videos. When I record the videos, I use my iPhone, but I can't have OBS bring my iPhone camera in. So, all right, let me do another round here. I may have had the camera too close before. Let's see. So chain 2, half double crochet, chain 1, 2 half double crochet. And then we'll go back into doing the V stitches. I think that camera is better. I'm working out the kinks of the streaming thing too. I think the color looks better when it's a little further away. It's not trying to focus so much. Let's see. So hopefully Maker Monday becomes something that other people can benefit from and enjoy watching, hanging out. And like I've said already, any support for the channel is greatly appreciated. It's not a massive channel, but that's okay. We're getting there. I'd rather take my time in growing and do things right, and I'm so tangled here. Grow a nice little community of like-minded people who are interested in crocheting, knitting, and the such. Because there's some pretty amazing other creators out there as well. You might be able to hear my son in the other room there. He's playing online with friends. His last few weeks of freedom before school kicks back in around here. All right, 2 half double crochets, chain 1. That's something too. Down in the States, you guys go back to school early. We don't go back to school here till like after Labor Day in Canada. But you guys are done earlier. So it all kind of evens out. The kids here go till in grades 1 to 12, they go till like almost the end of June. My son's in college and he's done usually in April. All right, let's see here. So again, I'm not giving a whole lot of instruction on this because I'll make the tutorial in more detail, and I want to make sure I've got the pattern sorted out the way I want it, and I just made a boo-boo, the way I want it, and maybe better descriptions, and I want to possibly simplify the starting round a little bit to make it a little more beginner friendly. So a few tweaks here and there before the full instructions are going to go live. And when I do the tutorial for it, the PDF will be available on the website. That gets linked in the description, just like usual. All right, let's come around here.
No way. No.
All right. And let's see, chain 1. Chain 1. Now I need to figure out here. Let's see. So if I do that, but I want to change colors, I want to slip this, because the last time, remember when I changed to the pink, I had it confused because it looked like I had done more than. So if I do my slip stitches first, cut the yarn for the pink, and then finish my last slip stitch into the center part, I'm going to tie my ends so that I don't lose them. So by doing that, then if I chain 2 and do a half double crochet, chain 1, half and half, that's going to make it look a little better than the way I did it before. So see, this is why I'm tweaking the instructions, because the way I had it before, it didn't look as good. It made sense on paper to do it that way, but when you see it visually in the project, it doesn't. So yeah, that makes for a cleaner switch than when we did it. See down here, it looks a little clunky. I'm not a fan of that. So by doing it like that, it gives it a cleaner edge. So let's get around. We'll finish this round and then we'll take a look. And every time you go around, you're growing the poncho out by 2 V-stitches. Alright, onto the ground you go, so you're not in my way. When I say ground, it's just going on the floor. Because there's too much, it can get tangled up in the desk. right, let's see here. And hopefully when I do post the instructions will make sense for everybody too. But like I mentioned before too, I think this would be a pattern that would be highly beneficial to have the diagram to go with it. I just need to learn. I have the general idea how to do stuff like that. And I have the program that I could do it in. It's just I don't necessarily know how to use that program to its full potential. So I'd have to learn how to do that as well. But I think that would be interesting, just that part in itself. Because I know a lot of people are very visual, and it's all well and good to have a pattern that's all written out in great detail where it says, chain 3, skip 2, do this, do that, all in words. But there's some people that just like to have the visual representation of the pattern chart, like the charting of it, the diagram. And there's a lot of people that they see the diagram, they know what to do, they don't even need to read the written out instructions. So I think that would be, it's something I want to be able to figure out how to put into my patterns and stuff. I think it would be very useful, because a lot of people, like I said, are visual and they don't necessarily, not only that, especially if there's repeats, like if you're sitting there, you don't necessarily want to keep going back to asterisk to asterisk to, so if you see the diagram, some people are just like, got it, I don't need to keep reading back and forth. So something to figure out for down the road. Now, would I go back and my previous patterns, would I go back and add the diagram to? That I don't know, because that might be a lot of work. It would depend on the pattern. If it was still like something relevant and it was still something popular, I could maybe update the pattern to include the diagram. But that will be a wait and see thing too, because in my mind I'm thinking it may not be as complicated as it is, but maybe it is. I don't know yet, because I haven't really been doing it. So until I figure out and learn the ins and outs of how to do it and the program and how complex it might be depending on the pattern, would be whether or not I would go back and do diagrams for existing tutorial patterns and stuff. So that'll be a wait and see thing too. All right, coming up to the end of this round. I'm liking the color combinations. I'm also thinking, let me just finish this round and I'm going to take a peek at it. Because again, this is the prototype, so to speak, of what's going to be the final poncho pattern. So I'm kind of working the kinks out of this one here, and I am wondering about adding in a different stitch instead of just the V-stitch, just to mix it up. But is that going to throw off? That might throw off the counts because of how we're growing the poncho. I've got the tail stuck. Okay, let's see. All right, let me slip stitch that. And I'm going to slip stitch over to the center just to get me where I need to be. So let me see. If we look at this, I'm trying to hide the little ends. If we look at the poncho, and again, I'm making like one of the smaller sizes that it's going to be in the pattern. The pattern's going to be 3 different sizes, but it's just for a child. So right now my plan is size 2 to 4, size 6 to 8, and 10 to 12 for the and then I have like what the finished length maybe should be in that, but the finished length is going to be totally up to who. Some kids have longer torsos. Everybody's individual, right? So you may decide, I'm going to make it longer. That's totally up to you. Just because I have written down, you know, on average for a size 6 to 8, you're going to be 24 inches long. You could turn around and be like, that's too long for my child, or too long for who I'm going to give it to. I'm going to maybe not do as many rows. Or you're going to be like, I think I need to add more rows because my child grows super fast and they're tall and lanky and, you know, so I think I'm going to add more rows. That's okay too, because it's a 1 row repeat for row 4, right? Like once you get to row 4, you're just going to keep going until you have the desired length, because it's not going to change the neck opening or anything like that. So then I'm thinking too, see, this is my problem. I start doing all this stuff and then I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do that. So I'm also thinking, when I get it, when like the arms will be on this side, like your arms will be inside here, do we want to have it so that there's an option to leave an opening for the little one's arms to come out? And I only just thought of that tonight. So now I'm like, how can I modify my pattern to give that option? Like I would leave this one the way it is now, I think. And then have, like, this could be like option A, and then option B where there could be, as you're getting down and you're like, okay, roughly their hands will be, you know, I'm just going to say 1 foot down past the shoulders. I'd have to measure and see what the average, where they are. And then you make little things so that if all of a sudden they're inside the poncho, but they need to do something, their hands can come out through the slits, kind of thing. That might be convenient. Only thought of that tonight, not when I was writing it up before. And I wonder how hard it'd be to add a hood to this thing. This is what goes through the mind of someone trying to design something. Because right now the way I have it is for when you finish your length, I have it that you're going to reattach yarn, and I'll use the pink and trim out the neck so that it gets a more finished look, and it brings together where you've joined the yarn. But I wonder how hard it would be to add a hood, have a hood option. That's something to consider. It may be a little longer getting this tutorial out because I keep adding things to it, or options. And I do like the V-stitch over a granny square stitch, or granny stitch. And this is kind of light, it's not heavy. Lots of things to consider. Lots of things. If you're watching this, put in your comments if you think armholes, which would just be slits for their hands to come out through. Armholes, yes or no? And what do you think about possibly adding the option of a hood? And then it'd be like a little Red Riding Hood hood. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know also what you think about the whole Maker Monday thing. The whole idea of potentially doing that like on Mondays at, I don't know what specific time yet, but just to kind of mix it up from the regular tutorial videos and stuff like that, and just Q&As and just something social, something where if people want to drop in while they're working on their own projects, get to know other fellow like-minded crocheters or kniters. Let me know what you think if there's certain projects, like I mentioned about the granny square, a pattern a week. Like, I don't expect to have these lives be like, I think I've been on for like an hour and a half. I'm about to wrap it up because I was just working on the prototype. I wasn't actually going to finish the whole project. And as you can tell, I think I've added more work for myself. Just what you thought of some of the ideas that I mentioned throughout tonight, and if it's something you're interested in, or if there's something you can think that you've seen in the past, maybe others have done it, that might be something fun for everybody to do as a community. I'm up for that. I'm up for suggestions. Okay. So yeah. So I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up tonight. So if anybody was hanging out and just kind of lurking in the background, thank you. I appreciate it. I know I kind of blabbered on it now and then. I was kind of coming up with some ideas as I was going. I haven't been live like this in probably well over a year, so I'm a little rusty. Great stream. Thank you. But you're not biased or nothing, are you? So yeah. So we got some stuff done. Got some kinks figured out. But I think we'll wrap it up there. And like I said, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think about the Maker Monday thing. All right, so take care, and I will see you. There's supposed to be music playing when I'm doing like my stream ending and stream beginning, and I don't know why it doesn't come through. We'll deal with it. So anyway, so that's going to be it for now. Hopefully have a video posted before the end of the week before I potentially go away for the next tutorial for the baby blanket, if I can get the border recorded. And maybe we'll see you again next Monday live, and maybe I'll figure out a different project. It could be something like tonight too, where I'm just like, I'm working on prototypes or I'm working on samples for projects for tutorials, because usually you have to have 2 or 3 samples ready to go for when you're recording, so you can show different like colors and stuff. So anyway, take care, happy crocheting if you're crocheting, and happy knitting if you're knitting, and try to stay out of the heat because it's been pretty hot. All right, I will talk to you next time. Why didn't that switch?